Hey, Den family, Den Mother Amanda back again for another YouTube chat. Um, maybe this title grabbed a few eyes. Please stick around for the entire live if you come on, please. Um, yeah, because this is extremely important as it has to deal with children. And yes, the title of Terrorism Against Children by Adults in the Free Country of America. Okay, and why I say that is the medicalization of kids who say they're trans and adults going along with it. Oh, you have to affirm the child is trans. Anyone is trans. But we're more specifically going to get into the children and why it's terrorism against children. Okay. It's been made that it's got to be mandatory to affirm the child is transgender, transsexual. I guess transgender is being used more than transsexual. I'm transsexual. Okay. Now, what I mean by terrorism, medical terrorism of children by adults, is parents at times go along with it. Okay, and at times the adults and I have sympathy for some of these parents because they're being led to believe and scared to death that by medical doctors and psychologists, do you want a dead child or a living trans child? And that is a bunch of BS. What they actually really need is real therapy. This is just ridiculous. It's harming our children. And then they get sent for puberty blockers like Lupron and the like. And doctors don't even tell the parents or the child that it's being used for convicted sex criminals to destroy their reproductive system and sexual function and get rid of the want and the desire for sex and harming people with it. Sex. It's disgusting. It's sickening. It's vile and should be criminal to do this to children. When they can get proper therapy without having conversion therapy and without affirmation therapy. The proper therapy would be ask questions, research into why the children thinks and believes that they are maybe trans. There's no guarantee that a child is going to remain trans. Gender questioning, yeah, I believe that wholeheartedly. It's just disgusting that they're being led to this without all the facts. It's disgusting, harmful, and you know what? It's not a pause. It's a complete stop. Once any individual passes a certain stage for their puberty, it does not come back again. Any doctor that's worth anything, medical doctor that's worth anything, knows that for a fact. It does not come back. It is not a pause. 100% of detransitioners that were put on puberty blockers as a child, minor child, has confirmed 100% no desire for intimacy, no intimate feeling during intercourse, just pressure, no gratification, zip, zilch, zero. Not only to mention, some studies have noticed that children that have been put on puberty blockers also can and have suffered from brain swelling, which in some cases has caused temporary to permanent blindness in the child. And this is supposed to be safe and acceptable for children. Why? Why is the medical field butchering children, destroying children's lives for the rest of their lives? Stop. I believe it should be a criminal act to put children on puberty blockers, and then in some cases perform surgery, medical surgery for gender altering surgeries for children. It all should be criminal. It should be a federal crime to do this to children. Because we know the harm. It's out there. Look at it. Research it. Google detransitioners. Listen to their stories. Open your heart, your ears. Open your ears and your hearts and actually listen. God. I don't know, it's just ridiculous. And another thing. Yes, we've all seen it that states have banned the medical treatment of children claiming to be trans. And no, they're not banning all people from transitioning, just children and children only. And they're doing the right thing for the children when they do that, and not the wrong thing, and medically butchering and destroying the lives of a child. A child, if ever detransitions, will never be able to have their own family, a family and children, or biological fit children of their own ever, because their reproductive system has been destroyed. Mastectomies and minor girls, double mastectomies. What, are you out of your mind? Do they have cancer? On the borderline of malignant breast cancer? That's the only reason they should be removed. Only reason. On top of genital dysfunction, boys claiming to be trans put on puberty blockers. Just look at Jazz Jennings and what happened with her being put on puberty blockers for so long. Wasn't able to get the growth that was needed for the surgery, inversion surgery. Three or four different surgeries she had. That poor girl. That poor girl. And the lead surgeon, Marcy Bowers, who's the president of WPATH. I think how from I'm hearing is starting to come around to the it's probably not a good idea to medically transition children, and I hope that's the case. I really do, because these children need protection. They need to be safe. California government, you're sick and twisted, vile and disgusting. Allowing minor children to come over to your state claiming to be trans and they have a safe place to stay and parents can do nothing once a child is there. Kidnapping is a federal felony. And everybody who voted to get that enacted in state law in California needs to be imprisoned. You are not a child's parent. You do not know what's best for a child, any particular child. In general terms, yes, they need a safe place where they can grow and thrive and go through their stages of growth as they need to, being cared for with compassion, empathy, sympathy, tolerance, and guided and comforted and loved. Sickening. It's belligerent. Hell, it doesn't even come up to the level of belligerence. Just evil and satanic. You can't tell me you know what the real facts are. You can't tell me you don't know what they are. Now, granted, there will be an extreme few children that will continue on and be trans, actually trans. And they should be allowed to live and to grow and go through puberty the way they were meant to as they were born. So they become healthy. Their bodies get to grow in a healthy manner. Their brains develop in a healthy manner. And if that means that the proper therapy to research what for the psychologist or therapist or psychiatrist to do a compassionate dive with the children and questions that get to the heart of why these children feel this way is what should be done, needs to be done. Not just say, okay, you're trans and then medically butcher the child. I know it sounds like I'm using some strong words, but this is just, oh my good Lord. This is, on both sides, there's passion. I think there's passion and caring and empathy on both sides. But the truth needs to be said, be told. And there's some that are telling the truth. Got Buck Angel out there telling the truth. Blair White telling the truth. The offensive tranny telling the truth. Listen to Brianna Ivy. She's telling the truth. Another one that's a Chloe that went in front of Congress and Senate and told her story. And wished it would not have been affirmative. She had not gotten affirmative therapy. I've seen a course of a few therapists and psychologists. Wonderful people. Got a wonderful team on my side. Okay. The first therapist I went to was not a gender therapist. I never had a patient that had gender dysphoria. I was the person's first. She asked me questions with care and compassion, got me to look even deeper into me and why I believed and felt the way I did about being trans. Went over some of my childhood trauma and eliminated that as the main reason for being trans. Because my thoughts that what I didn't know what trans was, transgender, transsexual was growing up in the 70s and 80s. I started to see a little picture of it in the 70s on some talk shows, but I just didn't know anything really about it. Just felt awkward, believing something just wasn't right. And I'm glad I lived that. I went through that. Okay, I didn't have available to me all the extra, like the therapists and stuff to go talk to. Probably would have been too expensive anyway. Even if I would have been saying something about it to my parents. My parents never knew. Nobody in my family, nobody close to me even knew, had any idea that I was going through this as a child. Nobody. Yeah, every once in a while to get caught in girls' clothes, but everybody's like, oh, that's what kids do from time to time. Not a big deal. And it wasn't a big deal. Because sometimes some children do that and grow out of that phase. Also, most children are just gender questioning. Less than 1%. Well, I believe probably less than 0.5%. We talk about anymore about being trans and transgender. Less than 0.5% are going to really end up being trans or transgender, transsexual, and or destroying the lives of those who aren't by giving them these medications that will irreversibly and permanently damage every drive for intimacy, bedroom intimacy, all forms of reproduction. This is supposed to be okay. For those of you who believe this is okay and should continue to happen, I believe, and it's not going to change, what I believe about this is that it's evil, satanic. You worship the devil, you worship Satan, and you hate children. That's what I believe. I've listened to both sides. I formed my own opinions based on facts. And there are some facts on both sides. And there are some that aren't facts on both sides. I'm not blind to those facts. What we need to be doing is treating children with care and compassion. Like I said, the proper kind of therapy. Also, if the child needs antidepressants and anti-anxiety and whatever else they need for their mental health, so they can continue to grow and develop physically the way they should be growing and developing until they're at the age where they can make these decisions on their own as an adult, preferably 18 and over. I know some states will, will allow 17. Iffy on that. Very iffy. I think that's something that could be talked about at the age of 17. And the reason I say that is because if a person can be allowed a parental signature and consent to join the military, they should be able to make those decisions also. But I'm still iffy about the transitioning, medical transitioning until they're 18. Like I say, it's evolving, but I can see that happening at 17 because of previously what I said, with parents' consent can join the military. Okay. People aren't allowed to drink alcohol until 21. I think most, if not all, states in the United States. Children are not allowed to get tattoos until they're 18, because they're not able to make those kind of decisions. Why is it that adults support the decision for children to medically transition when they don't do those other aforementioned get tattoos? Join the military prior to 17. Drink alcohol under the age of 21. A lot of states it used to be 18. Okay, I agree with that, going back down to 18. Because at 18 you can freely join the U.S. military on your own. Without parental written permission. At the age of 18, you can get tattoos at the age of 18 without parental written consent. But you don't need to be 18 to get medically butchered in the name of medically transitioning a child. Why? Why? Please. YouTube detransitioners. There's a whole bunch of them. I've seen a few hundred, at least. I haven't been able to watch them all. I've watched a lot of them. 100% of them that are, as an adult that started on puberty blockers say that they don't. No pleasure in bed, no desire for that. I try to understand. Believe me, I really do. I try to understand. I just don't. And there's too many countries, if not all of them in Europe, who have stopped medically transitioning children, except for the ones that have already previously started before they put a stop to it. Because that damage is already done. Irreversible damage has already been done with the puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones and surgeries for those who end up detransitioning. That damage has already been done. Doesn't make it right. It doesn't necessarily always make it right to let them continue. It's like it's already been done. Anybody that's out there and listening to this and watching this, please, I'm begging, please, Get onto YouTube and find adult detransitioners and listen with your ears and your hearts to what they have to say. It's probably going to change your mind about allowing them to transition. I do know too. There's parents out there that have children that are saying they are trans and aren't going to let them until they're adults, and that's okay. Please get them some mental health therapy, the proper therapy. It's love, care, compassion, empathy. Because it is a hard road to be gender questioning and not knowing for sure which way to go. It's confusing for a child. I was confused. I wish there'd have been more help for me psychologically. All I know is we as adults and parents owe our children better than that. What's been happening with them? Most children that are gender questioning or think they're trans will end up turning out as they become adults be part of the L, G, or the B, lesbian, gay, or bisexual, and that's okay. That is okay. It's okay for them to be that way. They don't have to transition because they're that way. Doesn't mean they're they should be the opposite gender and go through medical treatment. Doesn't mean that at all. It means your child is an individual and will grow into what's right for them as an adult and do what is right for them as an adult. They will figure it out. And hopefully they get the right kind of mental health therapy as an adult to help them figure it out. And a mental health therapy as a child. And parents didn't say, "Hey, I love you, but we're going to find out. We're going to get you the right kind of therapy. Find out what's the best route to go for you, but not medical transition. Just no medical transition." None of my children. I got biological children of my own. And if they would have said been come out and said something like that, I'm like, okay, we're gonna get you the right kind of help, and get you the mental health therapy that you need. Just not gonna transition until you're an adult. If that's what it turns out that you are that you're transsexual slash transgender. It's not that I don't have love, tolerance, compassion, or empathy for my children. I do. My children are my world. A huge part of my world. I'm not a perfect parent either. I don't think any parent is perfect. But don't let these psychologists, therapists, and doctors scare you into doing something like this with your children until you get them the proper help, proper mental health therapy. Because it could turn out to be the wrong thing for the child to do is medically transition. And I think it's the wrong thing, even if it doesn't. Even if we had a nearly perfect way to figure it out, if they were going to end up being transgender, transsexual as an adult, not even in the ballpark of being close, not even close to the ballpark of 20% of gender questioning children or children that think that they're trans. Not even close to 20%. Heck, not even close to 5%, I believe. please have some love and care and compassion for children. Don't just agree with what a doctor says. The doctors and therapists, like the rest of us, are human. And from time to time, we're fallible. We're not perfect. And I'm going to end this and say, God bless you and God bless your children and your family and friends. If no one has told you that they love you today, I love you. Thank you for tuning in and listening and watching. Have a great rest of your day.